I know you want to hear about the releases made by WWE today, but chances are you've already heard about it from someone else. And truthfully, I'm not really concerned about many of them because WWE isn't the end all be all anymore. So there are other places to go. And there are other places dying for new talent, especially talent with some name brand. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see Chelsea Green show up in Impact. I wouldn't be surprised if you see Samoa Joe show up in AEW or Impact. I wouldn't be surprised if you see Bo Dallas just retire. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if you see Tucker show up on NWA or Impact TV. I wouldn't be surprised if you see Kalisto in AAA. I wouldn't be surprised if you see Peyton Royce and Billy Kay show up on AEW. I won't be surprised if I see Mickey James on NWA. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if all of these people getting released were part of a secret agreement between Tony Khan and Vince McMahon to trade talent. I wouldn't be surprised. What I was surprised about was NXT still getting beat in the ratings war. Yeah, I know. They said that there's no war, that's why they even changed nights. I get it. But NXT only got 876,000 viewers. And that's even their biggest audience since October 28, which was Halloween Havoc. AEW got 1.219 million on their unopposed night. So even on separate nights, the war rages on because you know they're still continuing in their minds with this little war. And AEW is still winning. So what is that saying? Is it really better? Because the past few weeks I haven't seen it be better. This week was good. Maybe WWE is really slipping. Who knows? What do you guys think? I honestly think that WWE is going down again with a 10-year slump. Because that usually happens every decade or so. They have about 10 years up, 10 years down, 10 years up, 10 years down. They were on their up. It was only a matter of time before their down came. And I think they might be in their down period. Because to lose still, unopposed, that's not good. And it's really not saying much of the state of wrestling with all the hokey shit that AEW's been doing as of late. Not the last 2 episodes of their show, but they've been doing hokey shit. And for the fact that they're getting 1.2 million views, says a lot about the direction of wrestling. And I'll let you interpret which way the direction is in the comments, because I'm not going to. We can all see clearly which way it's going to, so I'm not going to speculate, but I'll let you guys speculate in the comments. And I don't really have a segue or anything, and this is a terrible segue if this is one at all, but I was watching the game, AEW games, with Kenny Omega and the Bunny, and they were talking about the general manager game that they're coming out with, and Aubrey Edwards was defending to the death of her of why the artwork for the wrestlers is so terrible. I just found that to be very funny. She said there's just so many people, the best way is to have shitty artwork. Like, that's the best you could do. Okay, so let's just sacrifice the artwork of the game because we have a lot of people, so we don't want to work harder. You guys need to focus on one thing. Just because you have people who've done that doesn't mean they should be working on the game too. Because if they're working in the wrestling business and working on the game, that's why the goddamn game is taking so long to come out. Because they don't have the time or energy to do it. The only one that you really have anyone coming in who has any experience, as far as I'm concerned, in the video gaming industry is the guy who did No Mercy. That's it. You can wave all of Aubrey Edwards' credits in the video gaming industry in my face all you want, but she wouldn't be a referee if she was very successful. Not saying she didn't go to school for it and doesn't know what she's talking about, but if she knew how to do fucking video games, she wouldn't be a referee. How's that casino game? I haven't seen any promotion for it since. Whose idea was that one? Nothing to do with wrestling. Let's advertise all our wrestlers in a casino gambling game, because that's what I think of when I think of wrestling. It's poker. I think the all in or double or nothing was a little too literal. I don't know. I don't know who thought of the fucking casino game, but that was a terrible idea. Terrible. I'm just waiting for the one that's supposed to be like No Mercy. I'll be very happy. That'll probably be my new favorite wrestling game if they do it successfully. Or if they would have did something like Fire Pro Wrestling or Fire Pro Wrestling World, I would be ecstatic. It would just work on the controls a little bit more because Fire Pro Wrestling is amazing, but I'm not a super fan of the control and gameplay. I like the fluidity of like the 2K and like the No Mercies and stuff like that. 2K, if it wasn't so glitchy when it was released, would be awesome, because that game, I have it. That one's pretty cool too. I have every one since 14, I think, and those would be great games. But if they weren't trying to pump them out every year, because now that 2K22, they waited a year, but it still looks like the same fucking game. It looks like shit. And especially, I'm not going to know any of the roster, so I'm not even getting it. 2K20 was the last where I actually knew a lot of the roster. Now I don't know anyone. So I'll probably be skipping 2K22. Just because if I don't know any of the wrestlers, I don't care how good the game is, I'm not going to play it. AEW, actually, they're going to have a lot of wrestlers I like, and it's going to be cool to actually be able to play them. When I saw the graphics, it looked pretty fun. It looked almost like Battlegrounds, but whatever. As long as there's blood and hardcore matches, I'm cool. Because I like that in the video games. I just don't really like it in real life. I guess because they've broken kayfabe so much, it's really not believable anymore. And I guess like the older you get, and the more, hip to shit, and you realize if there's a fucking bomb going off, it's let alone multiple, that no one's walking out of that ring. So the exploding barbed wire death match, and if that barbed wire was real, they would be doing a lot more damage than what they did. They wouldn't be fighting with no shirts on. I can tell you that. So that's why I don't really like that stuff in real life. I don't mind like a barbed wire bat or the ropes in barbed wire. I don't mind that so much because you can get around that. But like suplexing yourself into like a whole bed of barbed wire, dude, no one's walking out of that. You're getting so cut up. It's just ridiculous. But in a video game, I can fully suspend disbelief for that because it's not real. I can believe that I just got thrown into a bed of barbed wire and the graphics, they'll show a little bit of blood and all that stuff, Real life, dude, you would have to get rushed to the hospital immediately. No doubt about it. There's a difference between being edgy and cartoon hokey. You gotta walk the line somewhere between that. Like how they're trying to have MJF write Mike Tyson a blank check. Come on, dude. Come on, you ain't got Tyson money. Here's a blank check, Mike. Come on. That's a terrible promo that they had MJF run with Mike Tyson. It was terrible. The tag match between Bucks and the Death Circle, or Death Triangle, was pretty damn good. Although, what's with the silver gimmick that the Bucks are wearing? I thought Kenny said it was time for a change, and they threw down the bell bottoms, but whatever. I guess they were inconsistent with that as well. But the match was good. The match with Darby and Matt Hardy was pretty good, but would be Darby does a crazy high spot, wins the match over a veteran. This guy's just running through the entire crowd. I mean, I don't know who can beat him. He's going through the entire roster. He's taking on giants and animals and beasts, and he's just destroying them all. If he's beating everybody, who's gonna beat him for the title? But that was still a good match. What else did they do? That's about it. It was all pretty good. Why is Team Taz trying to recruit Christian? If anything, I see Christian just doing his own thing. I don't see him joining a stable. There's enough stables. They don't need to add more people. What they need to do, though, is add more people to their booking committee. Tony Khan can't be allowed to just be running amok alone, writing these stories and booking this stuff. Don't you have Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard? Don't you have Dustin Rhodes? Don't you have Jim Ross, Tony Schiavone? Like, are you fucking kidding me? You have all these people on your payroll and you're not using any of them for creative? Jim Ross alone discovered two of the biggest stars, literally the two biggest stars of the Attitude Era. Handpicked Jim Ross. Get him in that role for AEW. He'll stop picking stars out for you left and right. Get Arn in there. Getting in there with some of the booking. Get Jim Ross in there with some of the booking. Get Tony Schiavone. Hell, get Sting and Jericho. They've got enough time to where they could bring good stuff to the table, where you're not just going to rely on Tony Khan, who's someone who's never even been in the business before. Until now. I mean, Tony Schiavone alone, he's been around. I believe AWA, NWA, WCW. You think he hasn't seen some shit in his time? Put him on the booking committee. You can't just rely on Tony Khan. Poor fella can't keep up with everybody. He doesn't know what to do with everyone. You need teams. And come to think of it, that's probably why there's so many stables in AEW now. It's just easier to put everybody in one spot and write for them instead of having to write individual storylines for them. I think I just figured it out. But you guys will hear it on Keeping It 100 or Jim Cornette in a Week, and, you know,